Disney stars often grow up in front of our eyes in a happy little bubble filled with family-friendly shows, movies, and cartoons. This is why it can be a little jarring to see those actors move on from their Disney projects and step into some truly evil roles. From serial killers to ghosts and crime spree delinquents, see some of the most jarring and surprising parts these former House of Mouse stars took on over the years. Disney loves their music-based sitcoms, and after Hannah Montana left the airwaves, they found a suitable replacement with the angst-filled show Austin and Ally. Child star Ross Lynch filled in the title role of Austin perfectly, and even expanded his musical prowess for a pair of Teen Beach movies. Then in 2017, he ditched his guitar, tossed on a pair of glasses, and stepped into the disturbing role of serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer for the crime drama My Friend Dahmer. Lynch still has the similar blonde locks, but 5 minutes into the movie, you forget it's the bubbly and talented singer behind the dead stare. He eats up the screen in every scene he's in, and adds layers of depth in the disturbing performance. The movie received a ton of critical acclaim, and Lynch proved he could step out of the Disney spotlight and take on more mature roles. After My Friend Dahmer, Lynch joined another dark production in the form of Netflix's chilling adventures of Sabrina. For several years now, Dove Cameron has been one of the top stars on the Disney Channel, first starring in Liv and Maddie and now a key part of the Descendants TV-movie franchise. Cameron has cemented her role as a Disney icon. Of course, imagine the shockwaves sent through young teens across the world when Cameron revealed that she was a dedicated soldier of Hydra. Well, not her exactly, but the character she played on Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 5 of the ABC show introduced us to Ruby Rose, a Hydra soldier in training, who was dedicated to the evil organization and would do anything to impress her evil mother. After going through many ups and downs, Ruby eventually turns full evil by absorbing some gravitonium and learning to levitate as well as control other objects. Eventually, her evil ways are stopped with a quick cut to the neck, and Cameron was free to return to the Disney Channel for some more family-friendly projects. Even way before getting a starring role on Disney's Wizards of Waverly Place, Selena Gomez was already on a traditional child star path, getting a gig in the classic children's show Barney and Friends. Once the actress began reaching her teenage years, she began to rebel like so many do, and her first signs of seeking more mature roles came with a part in Spring Breakers. On the surface, the film looks like a group of friends discovering themselves on spring break, and then quickly transforms into a deep dive of drugs, partying, and armed robberies. The role was like we've never seen Gomez before, and was definitely a rebelling moment to go against her squeaky clean Disney image, even if her character did some of the least appalling things in the movie. And just to make things clear about the more mature roles she would take on, a couple of years after Spring Breakers, Gomez would appear in the raunchy teenage comedy Behaving Badly. Zac Efron made a name for himself in the Disney Channel High School Musical trilogy, but the talented actor would prove he was far more than just a Disney actor. As Efron's star rose in Hollywood, he had the flexibility to take on all types of roles. While often sticking to comedies like Neighbors or Baywatch, Efron truly surprised us all by starring in the Netflix Ted Bundy movie Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil, and Vile. As Bundy, Efron transformed like we never saw him before. He manipulated others, imitated Bundy accurately, and showcased how disturbing the serial killer truly was. As Bundy, Efron was able to keep his head in the game and deliver one of his most compelling performances yet. The movie dives deep into his time behind bars, and Efron has many scenes where he's alone and is able to channel Bundy's demeanor and personality. Still young and thriving in Hollywood, the role of a serial killer should open up the floodgates for plenty of more dramatic roles. And now we go from one High School Musical star to another. Corbin Bleu not only played Zac Efron's best buddy in the High School Musical trilogy, but he followed a dark path into the world of creeps and horror. Bleu has a starring role in the horror movie Scary or Die, where he showcases exactly why you never want to be bit by a clown. After an attack, he begins to transform into a clown himself, turning fully evil in the process as his face transitions into a nightmare-inducing look. The low-budget horror film was a big turn for Bleu, who spent a lot of his post-High School Musical career focused on other musical roles, or competing on shows like Dancing with the Stars. Guess he just had to get the whole evil clown role off his bucket list. But for those truly interested, the clips we show here are good enough. Watching the whole Scary or Die is a big waste of time, as it's a low-budget horror movie mess. Phil of the Future helped put child actor Ricky Ullman in the spotlight, but Ullman probably didn't see his own future as a guest star on a variety of crime shows. After 2 seasons of Phil of the Future from 2004 to 2006, Ullman nabbed numerous guest spots on shows like Law & Order, Criminal Intent, Law & Order Special Victims Unit, and Cold Case. One of his most recent roles was in 2011 for the Criminal Minds spin-off Suspect Behavior. In the episode The Time Is Now, he plays Ben, a character who desperately seeks attention from his parents, so he writes threatening messages on their wall using some pig's blood. A little harsh there, but Ullman has made a career out of using his good guy looks to portray a secret, sinister side on all these crime shows. The classic trick never seems to get old. Shia LaBeouf is probably known for big screen blockbusters like Transformers more than Disney Channel shows. But he got his start on the quirky and cult hit Even Stevens. The show aired for multiple seasons, and had its own television movie as well. Over the years, he's ventured far and away from his Disney Channel origins.
Do it! Just do it!
One of his darkest roles is actually of his own creation in the form of the short film Maniac. The film follows a duo of serial killers who go on a rampage through a city. Shia barely has an on-screen role, but he is the cameraman following the characters in this faux documentary, essentially acting as an accomplice to their actions. The end of the short film doesn't come happily to the star, as the serial killers turn on the man who filmed them. Shia has spent years picking a variety of roles much more expanded from the goofy comedy he displayed on Even Stevens. In just a few short years, Disney actress Debbie Ryan went from looking over children to getting revenge on them. What a journey! She began her Disney career on The Sweet Life on Deck, and quickly went on to star in her own show, the massive hit Jessie. On the show, she played a nanny to a group of children living in New York City. Once her time ended on Jessie, Ryan ventured out to a variety of roles before signing on as the lead character in Netflix's Insatiable. While not as straight-up evil as the other roles like Ted Bundy or Jeffrey Dahmer, Ryan's role as Patty Bladell definitely has some evil intentions when the bullied high school student seeks out revenge against all those who did her wrong. They don't call it a dark comedy for nothing. Who remembers Olive from Ant Farm? The young actress was full of spunk and brought a lot of high energy to the show. But unlike a lot of Disney Channel stars who went on to dark roles after they left the channel, Olive portrayer Sierra McCormick started out on the dark side. You can see a whole different side to McCormick on the hit CW show Supernatural. And don't worry, we won't make you go skipping through 14+ seasons to try and find her. McCormick debuted as Lilith during season 3 of the show, and had a pretty extended run. Not only could she roll her eyes in the back of her skull, but she had the power to send her evil minions out to hunt down prey. Eventually, Lilith was recast in season 4, but her episodes remain very memorable and pretty creepy for a network television. Jake T. Austin is known for being the mischievous young brother on Wizards of Waverly Place. But he is truly up to no good in a couple of roles he took on after he retired his wizard wand. On an episode of Law & Order SVU, Austin was under suspicion for the murder of his girlfriend's parents, but it turned out he was just a red herring the whole time, and his girlfriend was the actual murderer. Austin went even darker in his next role, playing the title character in the indie drama Grantham and Rose. In the film, Austin plays a troubled youth who finds himself locked up in juvie hall, starts fights, and needs to do a lot to turn his life around. Much like a Disney show, he learns some lessons along the way and grows. But the content in the film is still a far cry from anything Disney would show on TV. Demi Lovato not only starred in the Disney Channel show Sunny with a Chance, but she was the star of the hit Disney Channel movies Camp Rock and Camp Rock 2: The Final Jam. With her music career taking off, Lovato's acting choices were limited after leaving Disney. But she did play a pivotal guest role on ABC's Grey's Anatomy during its 6th season. In the episode, Lovato plays the character of Alex, who shows up with her hands tied to the hospital bed because of attempts to harm herself. At one point, she even grabs a needle and threatens to stab herself in the chest with it. Many of the doctors proclaimed she had evil and crazy intentions, but it turned out to be completely false. An ultra-rare tiny hole was discovered in her ear, and is what resulted in all of the pain and psychological anguish. Lovato transitioned to the role well, and definitely showcased her range as a performer. It seems like when the script for Spring Breakers was written, the final copy was sent out to every former Disney star out there. Along with Selena Gomez picking up a role, High School Musical star Vanessa Hudgens played one of the main characters as well. While Gomez's character comes to her senses and gets out of Dodge, Hudgens plays the bad girl Candy who sets up most of the trouble for the group. She does lines of cocaine, trades in water guns for real ones, and the whole climax of the movie involves a massive gang shootout. Hudgens also goes on to play the girl gone bad role in the movie Gimme Shelter, but the film is far more of a redemption story than Spring Breakers was. Hayley Kiyoko may not have had her own Disney show, but she definitely made her way around the soundstage. guest starring on shows and appearing in movies. Disney fans may recognize her best as Stella from Lemonade Mouth, or in the multi-episode arc on Wizards of Waverly Place where she appeared as Stevie. Following her show-hopping time on Disney, Kiyoko has ventured into the world of evil and darkness. First, she appeared in the Season 5 premiere of The Vampire Diaries, and the mysterious dorm roommate Megan whose fate ends up in the hands of a vampire. A few years later, she was bringing the scares in Insidious Chapter 3, where a webcam chat showcases her visions of evil entities standing beside the main character. She may not have been directly evil during Insidious Chapter 3, but the evil spirits were around her. If you were to rank some of the goofiest characters in the Disney Channel's history, Des from Austin and Ally would be right at the top of the list. And then he'd probably trip and fall down a few notches before smashing through a drum set and stumbling as he climbed right on back up. Yup, the guy's a big goofball. Anyway, Callum Worthy didn't start out this way. The Disney alum has a brief role in the 4th season of Supernatural, where he lived in a small town with access to a magical well. His one wish? To turn invisible, and he uses his newly found invisible skills to spy on women in a local locker room. He does no physical harm, but the peeping Tom is creepy enough, especially when he keeps returning to the same locker room. The opening scene alone was filled with enough creepiness to make you look at Des on Austin and Ally completely differently from now on. After the awesomeness of the 90s, Disney Channel needed a new show and star to help lead the millennium. Enter Lizzie Mcguire. Hillary played the iconic role for over 60 episodes along with a feature-length film. Once it was time to leave the Disney umbrella, Duff continued on with some very family-friendly roles, including movies like A Cinderella Story. Believe it or not, but Duff's big turn to evil came on an episode of Dora the Explorer, where she voices an ice witch who takes everyone's skates. Oh, you're looking for something a little more evil? Well, let's change the channel from Nick Jr. to Law & Order SVU. Duff played a neglectful mother accused of killing her own daughter. While the death was eventually attributed to undiagnosed measles, she was definitely pretty bad on the mothering scale and had some evil intentions when she buried her daughter's body after thinking she spanked her too hard. Not only was it hard to see the clean-cut Duff in a role like this, but it is one of her earliest roles as a mother as well. So we saw Lizzie Mcguire turn to the dark side on Law & Order. Surely her on-screen brother wouldn't follow the same path. Spoiler alert, he definitely does. Jake Thomas played Matt, the thorn in Lizzie's side. Long after Lizzie ended, Jake Thomas took his troublemaking Disney antics to a whole new level on the show Criminal Minds. In Season 6, Thomas played the role of Scott, a guy who was part of a trio who kidnapped and assaulted exotic dancers. This may be one of the darkest roles yet for these Disney stars. Instead of getting busted by the Criminal Minds crew, Scott ends up a victim himself when one of his pals murders him during the episode. At least he wasn't involved with the murders of the dancers, but the other crimes were enough for a life-term sentence. Before his own life ended abruptly, that is. Man, these TV crime shows really know how to turn Disney stars into pure evil. Take, for example, Nick Spano, the actor who played the older brother on the Disney show Even Stevens. Spano was always jacked on Even Stevens, and his built body helped him nab a role of a Marine for NCIS. Only he wasn't just any Marine, he was a suspicious one. Just how suspicious was he? Well, he stole $4 million and was accused of stalking. Unfortunately for him, the show got real Even Steven, and he was killed off before the end of the episode, left dead in a warehouse. And while Shia LaBeouf was on the big screen making movies like Disturbia and Eagle Eye, even more of his cast would appear on crime shows. Not only did Shia's on-screen brother appear on crime TV shows, but his best buddy from the show did as well. Good luck recognizing him, though. On the Season 4 episode of Bones entitled Mayhem on a Cross, actor AJ Trouth stepped into the role of Pinworm. Yep, he went from Twitty to Pinworm. Not really winning in the nickname department there, huh? Anyway, Pinworm lived the life of a hard rocker and took things a little too seriously. Like, you know when your love for demonic rock gets so serious and you end up using barbed wire to choke out one of your bandmates? True story. Seriously, go watch it. Bones is a great show anyway, so yeah. Worth the 45 minutes. After seeing AJ in his black and white makeup, you'll never watch him in Even Stevens the same again, especially in the episode where they form a band. We've all seen how David Henry uses a wand on Wizards of Waverly Place, but after watching Cold Case, we now know that he can also shoot a gun. Unfortunately, he's pointing it directly at the face of an 8-year-old girl. In a Cold Case flashback scene, Henry's character lashes out against the poor little girl, blasting off a bullet. Of course, it's network television and the show cuts away just in time, but the idea is there and wow, really dark. the season 4 episode went back to the 70s where the police thought a little girl was abducted. But David's character Dale manages to hide her body as well. Justin Russo has done some vengeful things to his sister Alex on Waverly Place, but nothing ever went that far. Yeesh. Back in the day, there was nothing more exciting than a Saturday night in the Disney Channel original movie. Kristin Storms helped lead the way in these movies by starring in a trilogy of films based off the character Xenon. Storms was a face of the Disney Channel for a long time before she transitioned to soaps. One of her more controversial roles may be on General Hospital, where she played the character of Maxie Jones. Maxie has done some crazy stuff over the years, including faking pregnancies, giving other characters drugs, and then pretending that a baby of her own actually belonged to another couple. In the soap world, there's a lot of chance at redemption, so Maxie has gone from the dark side to the good side multiple times. But her partying days were filled with some pretty bad decisions. Well, we'll never look at a lot of these Disney actors the same again. Do you like it when Disney stars take on darker roles? What's your favorite? The most shocking? Any we missed? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to ScreenRant for more great content. Thanks for watching.